days, just my luck. Put me on where you understand. There's nothing left to say. Pull me back.
What's up, everyone? How you guys and gals doing? Welcome to the show. It's the biker news segment of Motorcycle Madhouse. Coming up live, we have China Dow. It's going to be a good one. We're going to talk about when people finally admit what they judge others for, they're doing themselves. But today, I wanted to take a little break from the biker news. Thank God. Terrible events that have been happening lately in the biker scene. And somebody that I highly respect and look up to really put it out there for me to ponder and think about. This thing that happened down in Georgia, they are now calling it a mass shooting. And that's very dangerous for clubs because when that word mass shooting comes up, it gets everybody in a tizzy, especially people that have no idea what clubs are all about. They follow what the news says. Very, very true. They follow the news. Come on, we're talking about a country that followed the news on this collusion stuff forever, and it comes out that it was totally fake. But that's the length that the FBI and the DOJ will go. So you think if they would do something like that, what they would do to an MC. So I sat back and started thinking and said to myself, and I really wanted this on air. Hell's Angels, outlaws, Mongols, banditos, pagans, put me out of business. Don't do anything out there that's going to get in the news. That could put me out of business. And I would love for that to happen. I hate for the last 5 years doing all the stories that I've done and articles where I see people get hurt. People that share the same type of interest that we all do. Riding motorcycles, partying, flipping the bird off to the cops. Everybody has that in common. But to have to do stories where people who think just like me or you that are getting killed over some stupid stuff, it really is a eye-awakening. And you hope with the platform that I have and that others have, and I'm going to talk to other creators about this, that we can start educating people. If this don't stop, what could happen? I want to go through laws of different countries. And you can say, well, you know, that, and I used to do it myself. Say, well, that can never happen in the United States. And I didn't sit back and look. And I talk about Texas all the time. We actually had somebody that was arrested in Texas who was a legal, law-abiding concealed carrier. They arrested him because of his club affiliation. Yesterday, the Supreme Court didn't strike down the Illinois ban on assault weapons. There's a bunch of other stuff in there where if somebody feels you're a danger, they can take away your gun rights. So it's happening. These little bitty laws are starting to hit. And you see a lot of these blue states that are starting to enact gun bans everywhere. Because of why? Mass shooting. And what happened down in Georgia with over 140 rounds, 150, whatever it was, that was classified as a mass shooting, which is horrible that anything like that would be affiliated with an MC. I say we have a great movement out there with No Shame from 4 Foot of Road, Knuckle Up. But take it a step further. What about bring it to the table? Again, we have all the same interest. Why can't there be a summit of the main clubs. Let's be honest. I'm a huge supporter of the COC. Huge supporter. But they address a lot of biker rights stuff, and the elephant in the room is never addressed. The bigger clubs are the ones that have to make the move first. They have to say, let's get to a table. Let's have, a conference, whatever. I'll bring 4 or 5 guys. You bring 4 or 5 guys. It don't have to be an army on every side. And have a conference. Come on. Look at this country during the 80s. You had Ronnie Reagan and Mikhail Gorbachev come to a summit. We were the biggest enemies ever. Nukes ready to fly over houses. And they were able to identify the problem, sit down, talk about it so nobody died by missiles flying overhead. Eventually led to the breakdown of their country. So why can't there be a summit among all the big 5? Sit down at a table and say, you know what? If we don't come together and say, keep our people in line from shooting each other or having ourselves in the news, we're going to start seeing more and more and more laws passed. And before long, they're going to creep up and get you. I don't think that's, as men, that's hard to do, is to call a summit. Hell, you had organized crime figures have summits and stuff, and one thing they knew is business was never good when people were in the news. That thing that happened down in Georgia has everybody in the news. I hate to be a biker in Georgia or Florida right now. We did that story where they were even talking about what they're going to be doing at these rallies, upbeating cops and all that type of stuff. They're looking for the retaliation, and I say, don't give it to them. Don't do it. That's what they want. They want you to, you know what? Sometimes I guess bikers are their own true enemy. They cut their own throats. Because they walk right into this trap that the cops give them. Right into that trap. And you have to admit, the last couple years, we've been seeing an uptick in the type of violence that does happen. The first thing I think you have to admit is that you have a problem. It can't be us going out there and saying, well, they're calling them a gang and that's not the way it is. You know how us creators are. It starts with the clubs themselves and the leaders saying, you know what? We've had enough. There has to be a time when and it's gonna be hard as hell. I'm not in one of them. That I'm not in a position to do any of that. I'm just suggestion from my own opinion here. You might have to let the past go to move forward in the future. And that's going to be one of the hardest things to do because a lot of people lost brothers. A lot of people are doing time in jail right now. But do you want the cycle to continue to where when the regular people, how can I put it? You got 1%er stuff being discussed with the 99% population. That's how I can put it there. They don't understand it. And yes, we as creators got to do more educating towards the independent side of the biker scene as well as regular Joe Schmo people. Regular Joe Schmo people. Because they're the ones that make these laws. So down in Georgia, they're calling it a mass shooting. They don't care if it's biker related. All they know is that there was 150 rounds fired off. So, yeah, this is a gang problem. How am I going to be able to put out there or talk to somebody that has no education within this scene that it's a club? Well, they fire. Does a club fire out 150 rounds? Does the Elks? Does the Moose? That's the comeback they're going to say. And you can say you don't care what the general public thinks, but you're wrong. Because it's the same general public that sits on your juries and the same ones that elect these pricks to pass laws. So you're not oblivious to what's going on with them. You can't be. And that's another thing. This is just some stuff popping off my head. We're bikers. We're not bangers, man. There's been a lot of the banging coming in the scene. Why would you want that? Because of numbers? I don't know. Wouldn't it be more cost effective that if somebody goes out there and does something stupid for the leadership to say, hey, you're on your own, don't expect us to put money on your books or hire you a lawyer for doing something that you did on your own? Some big questions here. But I really hope that in the coming weeks, as I work with some other creators, that we can put our side out there. Our side of why this should all stop. Because this ain't the old days where it took a month to get a newspaper to find things out. It's being done within 3 milliseconds of a video being taken out. It's worldwide. You have to adapt to the change. And where before you wouldn't care what's being said, now you pretty much have to. Because it's just out there so quick. That story out of Georgia was really quick on the news wire. As soon as it hit Reuters and AP, it was gone. It took a life on it from its own. But I'd like to be put out of business where if I just had a report on the good stuff that was happening, I'd be content with that. Let me know what you guys and gals think. Is it possible? And you know what? I am talking, I guess, to the leaders of those 5 clubs. Because it's you that really controls what is happening in the MC scene. You're called dominance. Well, use that power to do good. Use that power to flip the switch on these damn feds. We all have the same common interest. We all have the same loves for this sport of motorcycling. Let me know what you guys and gals think. We're going to go with China Dow right now. It's coming up. It's going to be a good one. You can listen over on the live with YouTube on our other channel. You'll have the link. Or you can hear the replays on Spotify or listen live on MotorcycleMadhouse.com, baby. Rock on. Join the Insane Throttle Members Only Club on YouTube or Spotify and receive exclusive content Monday through Friday at 9:20 a.m. Central Standard Time. Your membership in the Throttle Club helps keep the show going strong. The Motorcycle Madhouse Morning Show now streaming over on Rumble and YouTube Monday through Friday at 8:15 a.m. Central Standard Time. Tune in Mondays live at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time on YouTube for the Madhouse Monday Night Raw with Hollywood and Marco. Grab a beer or some wacky tobacco and sit back and bust a gut. Subscribe to China Dow's Viper Pit to get your dose of the world according to China Dow. Real and honest opinions on what's happening in the world today. Join the Queen Viper and take a walk on the wild side of life on China Dow's Viper Pit.